just because they're a trainer doesn't mean they're qualified in nutrition. It's in their name. Personal trainer. That has nothing to do with food. Good day, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of For Health and Happiness, live from Ivory Studio. This is going to be our Women's Wellness segment, and I just want to say I'm glad to be back. We took a week off, technically two, but I ended up doing a live stream at a women's conference in Jamaica, which was a lot of fun. But we're back here, and I want to get right back into the segment that we were talking about, why I failed, where I asked some of the ladies in my Instagram page, what reasons stopped them from achieving their health and fitness goal. They gave me their answers, and we're just going to talk about it today. The first one we went through was just talking about low carb diets and doing things that's going to give you temporary results. Today, we're going to be talking about information overload. So what this particular person had actually said was, I think it didn't work because I began to feel overwhelmed by all the conflicting information about diets, whether I should eat for my blood type, eat meat, avoid meat, gluten-free, or follow a pescatarian diet. Now, this was an interesting topic, and actually from the previous For Health and Happiness from Jamaica, I had someone talk to me because they were just really confused that people don't know how to eat now. And what I explained to them was it's tough. I never want to simplify things or give people scapegoats, but you also have to be realistic. I asked this person, where did you get their information from? And they're like, well, I had a group of people brought up and they just taught me how to eat, some basic foundation of eating, basic foundation of training. So they had someone to guide them. And when I talked to them, I was like, do you understand where most people get their information from? People are getting their information from so many different sources. And depending on who you talk to, they're going to define health, or they're going to define your approach differently. If you talk to a doctor about health, if you talk to a pharmacist about health, if you talk to someone who's managing a supplement company about health, if you're talking to a personal trainer about health, if you're talking or watching influencers talk about health, they're all going to give you different answers, which can be confusing. And especially now when, unfortunately, we're very look focused, where you might follow someone simply because of what they look like, thinking, well, I should try and achieve this goal because they look like they have the look I'm trying to achieve. And now, the problem with information isn't a good thing, but it does have its issues. In my opinion, two main issues is that there's too much information and not enough knowledge. A perfect example of this is whenever you're talking about electrolytes, everyone seems to know what electrolytes are, seems to understand the importance of the electrolytes. But then whenever I hear people talking about it, they're usually talking about, well, you got to use this electrolyte drink. Gatorade, Powerade, whatever your favorite electrolyte drink is, people think electrolytes, that. Partly due to the billions of dollars the corporation put into marketing, making you think electrolytes, their product. But if you just understood, if you really had an understanding of what electrolytes are, if you look at, go find whatever electrolyte powder drink you're taking, actually look at the nutritional facts and look at the electrolytes that's in there. If you compare that to any meal of 4 ounces of grass-fed beef, 4 ounces of sweet potato, and a cup of spinach, you're not going to find any product that has the amount of electrolytes in that meal than in that product. But you're automatically thinking, well, electrolytes important, so I need that. And just so you have some understanding, some of the basic electrolytes, the main ones, is your potassium, magnesium, calcium, sodium, phosphate. Even today, I unfortunately had to hear a conversation of someone in the gym talking about, where can I get my electrolytes outside of a banana? And the person they were getting their information from was like, no, banana's fine. You can get your electrolytes from a banana. Again, understanding, knowledge, but they don't have the full understanding. If you want to get your electrolytes from a banana, you're looking at, depending on the size, eating 10, 12, maybe even 15 bananas every day. Because if you're going by my definition of health, being whole and balanced, the average person should try and get in between 3,600 to 4,700 milligrams of potassium every day. That is a lot of potassium. You are not going to get the potassium you need from a banana or from an electrolyte drink. These are things you can use to supplement along with your diet. But if you were just going off, well, this thing says it has electrolytes, so I'm going to use it, you're just not going to get the full benefit. The other thing you have to think about is people usually, the provider of this information, too often, they're looking for profits or just to seem knowledgeable. People would tell you stuff, and this is what I find interesting. You would look at an ad for something, a product created to sell you a product, and then there's no follow-up. You're like, well, this product says it does this. Yeah, of course it's going to tell you it does it because they want you to buy it. Or you're talking to someone and they just want to seem knowledgeable and they don't have the courage or the ego just to drop their ego and say, like, you know what? I'm not sure about that. I don't have that information. And that's something I see a lot. And my clients would tell you, even though I'm a personal trainer, even though I'm a corrective exercise specialist, if they come to me with something that's outside of my wheelhouse, let's say someone's dealing with sciatica, have I seen some videos on sciatica? Sure. Am I knowledgeable enough to sit down and help someone that has it? No. If it's outside of my wheelhouse, because I care about my client, I would simply tell them, I think you should go see a physio because they can specialize in this. But too often people just want to seem like they're the smartest person in the room, especially if they're seeing some 30-second Instagram reel, and they'll try and make it sound like they know what they're talking about and they have all the answers. So I think it's very important to understand where you're getting your information from. And what I want to do today is kind of go over some of the information lies about where you should be getting your information from. And hopefully, because the toughest, this is always going to be a tough situation to deal with because there's always so many new lies to put out there. But in my opinion, the best way to figure out the truth, the best way to kind of debunk these lies is just reveal it with the truth. The more knowledge you have on things, the better it's going to be. But you're not always going to have that knowledge because not everyone's walking around studying nutrition or training or whatever their field is. But these are just certain things that are promoted to you that I don't think you should believe. The first one, looks equal experience. If you look fit or thin, you must be an expert in nutrition and everything to do with fitness. Again, not true. I think one personal experience I can tell you is the first time, my first bodybuilding show, I won, of course, and I've had people that wanted to train with me, that would pay to train with me. And I told them, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just want to show. I just look this way. They didn't care. They still would have paid me. They still wanted to train with me. And this is something that still continues today, where people will just see someone and automatically think, well, they must have the talent and the gift to give it to me. Just because someone has abs, they might just have a natural higher metabolism and they're thin. That doesn't mean they have the miracle diet plan to make you thin. Just because someone is muscular or they have some definition, again, you don't know what's they're genetically blessed. They don't have the knowledge behind it. So they might not be able to give you that muscle. And even when these people decide, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of this situation and try and make a profit off of it, they would usually just do a one-size-fits-all approach. And if whatever worked for them, they'll just give to you. And if you don't get those results, it's usually, well, you must be doing something wrong, or you're not working hard enough, or you must be cheating on what we've been doing, because they didn't really know how to create this for everyone. They just knew what worked for them. So the funny thing about people going to personal trainers for nutritional information is that I don't really see that the other way around. Like, I cannot think of a time someone went to a nutritionist and asked them for a workout plan. But because, again, how a trainer might look, you think, okay, they should be able to provide me with a meal plan as well. And if they're qualified for it, they might be able to, but not just because they're a trainer doesn't mean they're qualified in nutrition. It's in their name. Personal trainer. That has nothing to do with food. Now, I think trainers can be advocates of health, but I don't think you should just be getting meal plans from any trainer. It's like saying, if you were brought up on murder charges, are you going to ask your real estate lawyer to represent you? You wouldn't want a criminal lawyer. I mean, they both cover law, so they must be the same. Or if someone was breaking into your house, are you then going to call your lawyer and not the police? Again, they both cover law in some degree, so they should be the same. They're not. They have their function, they have their place, they're pieces of the system, but they have their direct responsibilities, their direct duties. So just because someone is a trainer does not mean they have nutrition, they're a nutrition expert. A lot of times I've seen where people would just get their information from what they've seen on shorts, Instagram reels, and then they'll try to say it like they know what they're talking about. But because they have a look that gives them this credibility, where then, okay, well, this person must know what they're talking about because they look this way. And even when people say it to me, it was like, well, I'll definitely listen to you because, well, look at you. Like, how does that work? So if someone's bigger than me, does that make them more knowledgeable than me? The best way, and again, this is where it just comes through time, experience, and then feeling the person out. You got to see if this person knows what they're talking about and if they can do something that fits you. Not a one size fits all, not a generic thing. This is a meal plan for you. This is a workout program for you. Another very, very popular one is too easy, rather being quick, good, and you don't have to change your eating to be true. They'll say being overweight or unhealthy can be blamed on one scapegoat, and all you need is the right silver bullet to solve all your problems. And you would just need this supplement or this workout program or this quick fix diet or this fat burner. The fat burners are getting crazy. I've literally seen a fat burner coffee and a fat burner toothpaste, because they'll just take advantage of your desperation. And we keep getting caught with these trigger words. As soon as we hear something say quick, easy, effortless, you don't have to change much, you don't need to work that hard, we'll just look for it and we'll go for it quick because it's like, well, this must be the solution. And the unfortunate part is that the cycle repeats. You try it, it didn't work, you'll see the next new quick fix, and then you'll just try that, and then your cycle will just be on and on and on. On average, when I get a new lifestyle client, they've usually tried about 5 to 7 different little quick fix diets before they come to me just to work on changing their lifestyle. So if you keep falling for the same gimmicks, the same tricks, you're just going to keep getting that same result, which is no results. Even when you're thinking of things like, waist trainers are not new, sweat belts or sweatbands are not new. They've been around since like the 1950s or 70s. They might change how they look, but they know they can keep tapping into that desperation that you want just to try and achieve this look, and knowing that they can use those right words to get you every single time. The other popular one is that all you need to do is hear it enough, and then it must be true. A message can be spread multiple times and it just keeps gaining its integrity. And this one's a tough one because this literally spans generations. One of the things I see often is the same dogma beliefs when it comes to health or fitness that I would have to try and debunk from someone who's 50 to 70 is still alive and well with people who are in their teens. Like, there's still people in their teens thinking, you just have to lift heavy to put on mass. You still just need creatine if you're trying to build muscle. The philosophy of those that hurt themselves, and these people will get injuries, they'll then just preach it to the next generation. And that's the scary part, is that continuous cycle, is that continuous pushing of that same message. And then this is one of the reasons why people just wouldn't change, because they think, well, this is just what it has to be. And, one of the things would be like, oh, well, this is what, if you're thinking training, this is what Arnold did. This is one of the things I would hear. But Arnold didn't have the science we had now. He didn't have the same information. I'm sure if he had the same information and knew he didn't have to do certain things to get the same results or better, I'm sure he would have made that change. But we're just in that rut where we just keep preaching the exact same thing, which is why people, one of the craziest things where people still think, salt converts to sugar. People are still afraid of salt in general, simply because it keeps getting talked about. Depending on where you get your information from, they say it to you and you believe it and you say it to the next generation, and it just spreads and spreads and spreads. So just because you hear it often doesn't mean it's factual, doesn't mean it's true. Sometimes you just have to learn to kind of do your own research and figure out, okay, this might be a popular belief, but what has worked best for me? Again, always using my lifestyle clients as the example. One of the things they have to talk about is they have to kind of learn to trust me, because I'm going to say things that they've believed for decades that might not be true. And the only way they're going to find out is by applying it and seeing they don't need it. Going back to one of the previous episodes with Franco and our interview with him, he was surprised that he can only do 2 sets and still put on mass. He was surprised that, just 3 sessions throughout the week, and they didn't have to be an hour-long sessions, can still provide results. Because those are just things that people constantly say, no, you got to be in the gym for long. You got to do 3 sets of 12, on and on and on and on. So I think it's important that we get that knowledge and then learn to break that cycle, no matter how uncomfortable it might feel. Now, those are just 3 simple things that I think we should change our viewpoint when we're looking for information. One of the other things I think will be important is really looking at how we define health. No matter how much you study Spanish and no matter how much money you put into studying Spanish, you can get a Spanish tutor, spend the weekends studying Spanish. Don't go hang out with your friends studying Spanish. If you go into the exam room and it's a French exam, it doesn't matter the work you put in. You were focused. You were studying on the wrong thing. So for me, and this is what I would hope you would try and just look into from a different viewpoint, my definition of health has always been the constant process of just being whole and balanced. You don't need a particular thing. You don't need to do a particular thing. You are just thinking, what does the body actually need? How can I keep certain hormones and nutrients balanced? And however that looks for you, that's what will probably work best for you. The other problem I will see people having a lot as well is they'll focus on perfection over just progress. Because they think health is a certain box and they have to fit into this certain box, if they don't fit perfectly into the box, they'll just throw everything out because they couldn't do it how everyone else did it. You were thinking of what lifestyle works best for you. You are not trying to achieve, X person's lifestyle. You don't have to do meal prep how X person does it. How does it best work for you? And that even goes for trying out certain diets. Like, you don't always have to fit into that box. See what works best for you and then try it to the best of your ability. And then lastly, health is pretty boring. What you really just want to do, what I think everyone should do, especially if this is something new for you starting out, just keep it simple. Take the KISS approach. Don't try and go extravagant. Don't try and go too fancy. Don't try and do too much. You just want to keep it simple, build it up, see what works best for you. And then once you get to the hang of things, start adding in new steps, seeing how that works for you, and then continue that process. Once you have the basics down, then by all means, try something new, try something different. But it doesn't make sense you going day one and you're trying to go too sophisticated, too fancy, whether if you're training or your nutrition. Because I've had people that they're just starting in the gym and they think they have to be in the gym 4 days a week working out. For what? You might just want to start out with 1 day, with 2 days, see how your body feels. And then if it's something you enjoy, slowly build up or find other things to do to be active for the other days of the week. But just try and keep it simple, build up, and then go from there. I definitely hope that you guys found this useful. I would say just overall, be very careful of where you're getting your information from, understanding people might be providing this information for certain reasons, whether it be profit or just make themselves seem more knowledgeable. And then no matter where you get your information from, apply it, see how it works for you, and then make those changes. But always kind of keep that mindset of, how is this making me healthy? Is this something that's making me better overall? Is this something I can do long term? So until next time, be happy, be healthy. Oh, hey, you guys are still here. Thanks for staying to the end of the video. Please watch some of the other videos on the page and subscribe.